Daar was hy nou.
Kan jy my
Dis die
hoor?
sak as dit anders skree. Hard en duidelik.
Okay. Hier's ook 'n
Hard
ding.
en duidelik.
Kan jy my sien en hoor?
Ek kan jou sien en hoor.
Okay, mooi.
Is dit 'n goeie begin?
Dis 'n goeie.
Jy sal ingerig daar sien ek.
Baie.
Koffietray en elke ding.
I've got my ducks in a row. Ja.
Jy moet my sê wie jy dit gedoen het.
Daar's hulle. Kom julle.
Ag, te pragtig.
Mooiste.
Kom mamma praat nou. Kom,
Ja.
kom. Ja.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to all the viewers, and thank you so much for watching STORTKOP Confessions. Today my guest is Johan Rautenbach. Johan is a renowned South African producer and guitarist, just a fantastic musician all round, and just always a pleasure to work with one of the best people I know in any way. So Johan has been in the industry for such a long time, and I want to ask you, Johan, hello Johan, vir jou ook daarom hallo.
Hallo, hallo.
Actually,
Lekker en jy?
Ag nee, lekker, dankie.
Dis mooi.
Ek
hou van wat jy gedoen het met jou hare, hoor.
Baie dankie. Die skewe pony.
Ja, baie mooi. Ooh.
Nee?
Pragtig.
Ek weet. Geen wonder hierdie is nie op die TV nie.
Dit het baie potensiaal.
Nee. Ja. So just a disclaimer, Johan and I are doing this now for the third time because we've had Zoom breakups now in between. So we've laughed so hard in the past half an hour that we've actually, I think, calmed down semi now. But anyway, nee.
Nee. Not a chance.
Nee, waarskynlik nie, nee. Anyway, so Johan, please tell us where your career started. Where did everything begin, and the entire story, everything that you've been doing and working on and building up for yourself as a professional musician in South Africa until right before the pandemic hit us.
Sure. How long do we have? It's been a long ride. It started at school. I mean, my love for music definitely started at school. My folks, my parents they enjoyed music, but they didn't play any instruments or something like that. And I always used to sing in the choir, and then in about, I think it was grade, where are we now? 6, graad 4.
Yeah.
The standard 4. Standard 4,
yeah.
Yeah. The guitar thing hit me. I think we were coming back from a church camp or something like that, and I just said to my folks in the car, I said, I want one of those. And they bought me a cheapish nylon string, and I was hooked. I played in church for all my school career, and a bit after that as well. Played in church, in worship bands, and so yeah, the love for guitar started. I think there's definitely a dual element to my career, and it's the guitar part and the studio side, the production side. I can't remember where I saw my first studio. I can't remember if it was in a magazine or a live studio. I just remember I completely freaked out. The whole idea and the whole concept, I was like a little boy in a candy store, and it's like, too many buttons.
Yeah.
It's like, where do I turn? Where do I sign up for this?
Yeah.
And I didn't know how easy it was actually to have your own facility. Well, relatively easy. My folks we built our first recording studio, when I still lived with my parents, they had a garage that wasn't completely built, closed down, and we converted that into a little, I actually had 2 booths and a control room. And we actually started with a couple of investors, not investors, but a couple of partners, This guy had a reel-to-reel, and that one had a desk, and we thought, just bring it all together, and eventually me and my brother just kept all the gear, and we shoved them out, really. So sorry, Ella. No, it was just things came to pass that way, and I must say, when I started out doing music, I didn't expect it to go the way that it actually did, for the past couple of years. It wasn't my plan to be, in certain aspects of my career. My first and foremost thing is I wanted to be a session guitarist. And the studio thing, I also realized that, there were other guys around at that time that I have tremendous respect for, guys like Maurits, Lutz, and we've become good friends over the years. But I really idolized what he was doing. I loved the vibe of, and I read everything I could in magazines about Nashville, the Nashville session scene and the Nashville session players, and it just fascinated me, from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a space for me to actually build up some experience, because I realized that, our industry, and especially the Afrikaans industry, not that I thought I was going to work so much in the Afrikaans industry back then, but there's just so much space. And Maurits, between Maurits and Jethro, they were doing all the sessions. So where am I going to get some experience?
Yeah.
So I thought one of those things, well, okay, if I build my own place and I dabble in production, which I didn't have a clue what to do, it's just trial and error, I suppose. Started out on a reel-to-reel machine, a half-inch Fostex, and the rest, the proverbial, as they say, is history, kind of, in a sense.
Yeah.
But and then the whole I left production for a while, and I just played. Because my career has always been, I would say, threefold. It's like doing sessions, studio sessions, production side, and doing live gigs. And I've always enjoyed all of them, and I get bored a little bit if I don't do one of them, for a while. I do get bored, and I miss it. And that's one of the things I really miss now at the moment. So where was I? Yeah, the Afrikaans thing, kind of in terms of production, fell. I don't want to say fell in my lap, because at the end of the day, everything is grace, and everything that happens to you comes from God, and there's I won't say there's nothing much you can do. You must do your part as well. But it's all about grace at the end of the day. So it really kind of fell into my lap. There were 1 or 2 projects before, but the big thing was De La Rey, that I produced for Bok van Blerk. And then after that, it was just I was like, if I wanted or not, I was like in the Afrikaans industry, in the middle of it. And then after that, a couple of others followed, Leanie May, and a couple of Eden songs. All in all, I think it's about 14 platinum and 12 gold selling albums, which was still a thing back then.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was still a thing back then. So it was, and then slowly but surely, even before COVID. Now, this is the thing, most people that are in the industry no, even before COVID, things changed dramatically.
Mm.
It really started going pear-shaped in so many ways, except for certain guys like singer-songwriters. I think they definitely have it better now than they had when the record company was still ruling the world, you know. And but for any people working professionals, either in production or anything that's got to do with the final print of the CD, going to a shop, the record labels, everybody had it, you know, had it coming for. I think it took a bit longer in South Africa. Yeah. But I mean, overseas, the CD sales were non-existent. I mean, it was for years already. And CD sales were the only kind of income that, you know, or pie that could be split between all the people, you know, between the artist, the record company. And I mean, the record company obviously took the most of it. And then all the others, the session guys and the producers and, you know, all of that. So it started to change before COVID hit. Yeah. But then obviously when COVID hit, you know, all the live gigs were gone. Yeah. That was scheduled. And obviously people were very, very hesitant to do productions, you know, because now all of a sudden, yeah, especially private people, you know, I don't work with the labels as much as I used to, but people that would normally, you know, spend money on production artists, you know, that are not signed. Well, some of them, because it works so much different now, but some of them are signed with labels, but the labels are only there for a little bit of marketing, perhaps. You know, a lot of guys, they work differently, and some still pay for their own productions. I see. So a lot of artists that I used to work with that, you know, weren't hesitant to spend a bit because they knew they were going to get it back. Just because all the gigs fell through. Exactly. All the gigs were cancelled. So all the artists were, all of a sudden, they were thinking, well, I can't really afford to spend any money on production. So, you know, and obviously that had an effect on my session work as well, you know, just studio session work as well, because, you know, everybody's doing less and less work. Yep. So, yeah, in all three aspects of my career, it really hit hard. I mean, I lost easily 2/3 of my income. Wow. Like, that's wat se woord wat ek soek, conservatief. That's conservatively speaking. I lost 2/3 of my income. Yes, it's bad, right? Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, you know.
That's exactly it. You know, like you and Jacques are the people who work behind the scenes, but you're so much part of that artist's success. You're so much part of the whole thing because you're part of the team. But because you guys are behind the scenes, it's a different world to what the solo artists live in. They have their famous face that they can rely on. And I asked this to everybody, you know. I don't know. I feel like it's so sad that everybody's working hard at something to create something successful. And the singer is the front person there, and it should be like that. But when something like this happens, that's so absurd, a pandemic and everything's locked down, doesn't even make sense. What happens to all the others? What happens to them? I know Jacques said that exactly this, is that if the artists don't gig, they don't record new albums, and then the producers don't get work. It's like a whole, just wielietjies wat mekaar laat draai. It's like a whole, what is that? A machine.
Snowball effect.
Yeah, everything affects everything. And at the end of the day, what can you do about it? I don't know. Because lots of people who perform... Yeah, they went online and did online performances. But you're not a performer. You're a session guitarist. You're a producer.
No. And you'll see a lot of guys that started out, especially in the Afrikaans industry. A lot of guys started out as session players,
Yeah.
either with other famous people or whatever, started to go in a solo career, avenue because of, just, I mean, it's not like the one, I mean, there's pros and cons for both, and for, at the end of the day, for me, I'm preaching to myself here because I haven't been following that for a while now, but at the end of the day, you must really follow your heart with music, it's just, we for years now, we tend to get lost somehow, especially if you do this full time, trying to follow your heart and doing your own thing. And hey, if you're happy with, singing my lifey, my bokkie, I can, go for it. If you're happy with that and you feel that's what, but for me, music is too precious to do it just for money. And you have to do it, you have to live. I mean, obviously. And maybe I'm still naive, talking that way, thinking that way, but it's not, I'm saying, if that's close to your heart and that's what you feel you have to do, then do it, but just don't do it just for the money, at the end of the day. Money comes and money goes. And that's the thing with the famous thing. I mean, the problem is that the pie, proverbial pie that I was talking about earlier, the cut was so unfair, because at the end of the day, even towards the artist, but definitely towards the musician and the producer, the production side, the cut was very unfair, because now, I mean, I'm friends with a lot of the guys still. I don't talk to them often, a lot of the famous guys, but I know how much they, for example, made from the single that made them famous. And it's kind of a thing where they can relax for the rest of their lives. So is it unfair? Yeah, it is unfair. I mean, at one stage in my life, as any other musician, you have to practice, to get where you want to be. And when I was way younger, I practiced for 8 hours a day, between 6 to 8 hours a day. Because that was my drive. I wanted to do that, as with a lot of other guys. So, and you kind of just have to go where the road leads you, I do believe there is some point of unfairness in any kind of music industry, wherever you are. And there's a lot of, I mean, even if it was guys that didn't receive royalties for a song they wrote that became famous, there's a lot of things, Hello.
That's my hond. Fancy. Vega. Do. Kom hier zo, sorry. Do. I think I had 'n nagmerrie gehad. Hy slaap so baie hierdie hond, hy's afgetree.
Ek het ook.
Yes, okay, maar we gaan mooi teruggaan. Wat het jy nou? Ja, the unfairness, inequality.
Yeah, we were talking about the fact that the artist always, kind of gets the credit and all of that, and that's fine, I had to realize that the hard way, with a lot of the famous, like the big songs I produced, like I spent can't remember how much time, 3 months or whatever, sometimes more. And that song is so part of me, and I let it go, and then it goes into the world, and next thing I hear, it becomes an anthem, and at the festivals, the young Afrikaans guys are standing up and singing it like an anthem.
Awesome.
I'm like, what's going on here? You know, it's like it's crazy,
Yeah,
mind blowing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is kind of it. But yeah, it's the nature of it. It's like a, you know, the horse. When you look at a horse, you see the horse's face and its beautiful hair and its overall strength, but you don't realize that the hooves are necessary to whatever, to keep the horse balanced, and that every single part of that whole thing is just as important. Yeah, dis maar weer ding.
But it's true.
Yeah. I know that from working, not working with you, but having you produced music for me, that you are truly a professional musician, in the sense that you will pay attention to the detail and you will make sure that every single little thing is the way that you hear it, and that to me is a sign of artistry and professionalism. Like, you spend the time, even if it takes you 2 months to do that, it needs to be right, it needs to be good. And if you compare that mindset to, you know, somebody who, it's so difficult, but somebody who makes something really simple, and it's not even maybe even musical, it's off pitch or whatever the case may be, you get irritated by it. But on the other hand, it's like, if that person has a following and people like what they do, then great for them. I always think of Bob Dylan, for instance. Like, Bob Dylan is a legend. He's not a good singer at all. He's not a good guitarist at all. But people were so drawn to his authenticity and his good writing. And then everybody said, okay, cool, well, great, you're a musician, you do this thing. But it's not the same. It's such a complex system, I think. And it's difficult to find your own voice in it, I think, also. And your own value in it also. Because if you compare the time, the amount of time that you put in, or the skill, or the deursettingsvermoë, the mental thing that comes with it, like, you work so hard and you feel like you're not getting enough, né? That is kind of all that time and energy.
Well, if you talk to my bank manager, he will definitely agree with you. But look, I've gotten myself into trouble many times, just because of the peer. I wish I wasn't. Sometimes I wish I wasn't like that, just being so anal, you know, about the small things. But at the end of the day, I can't, you know, I cannot be what I cannot be. It's like, it's there. I hear it. It must, if it must be there, it must be there, you know.
Exactly that.
And sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you focus on stuff and it's, you know, not that important. And as you said, we live in a plastic world, you know. I do think it is starting to change. The whole template thing.
Yeah.
Even in the pop genre, I do think there are some some exciting new stuff that with a bit of a fresh flavor to it. But I mean, let's face it, for a long time, just music as well was plastic, and it was like just cookie cutters, you know, all the way through, you know. And I'm a big fan of country music as well, and I got to visit Nashville in 2016.
Yeah.
And to just see how it works, and it, you know, even there, it you know, they didn't go untouched by the template cookie cutter vibe as well, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they call it bro country. It's like this typical production sound, typical songwriting style, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, people, I mean, it's always been like that, you know. Cult or pop, or how do you want to put it, following, it's always been like that, you know. With clothes, with everything. You know,
exactly.
So music definitely the same.
Yeah.
Which is sad on the one, you know, it takes one guy to go against the stream, you know, and just say, well, as you said, finding your voice, that is the most important thing. I've kind of and if you do music as a job and do music production, and inevitably, if you listen to a David Foster production, for example, I mean, most of the time you can hear it's David Foster. So I think finding your voice, even if you just produce, it's a little bit trickier sometimes, but you know, without sounding, you have to be fresh as well. You kind of have to be on top of things and listen and hear what's being done, you know, at the moment. So without losing your ID and your voice, you kind of have to stay fresh to it, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's an ongoing, wonderful process. I mean, let's face it. I think we've lost good friends, you know, in this time, and I think in this time we're living in, it's much harder. Just the mental thing of staying, you know, positive and just mentally, you know, staying, saying it's going to be okay.
Yep, that is true. And I think it's freezing again.
Right. Yeah.
The mental side of it, every single person who I've interviewed, as well, most of them has mentioned that the mental strength it takes to get through this. Many has started doing things that's not necessarily about with music, but little things that they do to keep themselves positive and just keep on doing something. Because in the beginning, I don't know if you also felt like this. You constantly feel like, okay, cool, now I'm going to start doing something, and then it stops. And then it's like, oh, everything goes, I have to start again. And I think the adjustment has been, okay, it's not going to stop. It's just being postponed. So while it is postponed, I'm going to now start doing this in the meantime. So I think we've learned to use a completely different way of managing our time and planning also. It's like, I've become so overwhelmed with 1,000 new ideas that I've had. I get good ideas, but then it's too much, and then it completely overwhelms me, and then I just leave everything and I completely procrastinate. You know, we've spoken about procrastination, you and I, a few times there. And that's the thing with an artist's brain also. It's like it's weird to manage. It's difficult to manage it, but to stay positive. Like something like this, STORTKOP Confessions, I just thought, you know what, niemand betaal my om dit te doen nie. It's my time, it's it's a sacrifice. But I enjoy it. You know, I miss speaking to other musicians, especially. I love the conversations with my tribe and everything, and I know all of us do. So just that, to be able to speak about it to each other, yeah, that helps so much. I had Rolof Colijn last week, and he said something really profound. He said, it's been so long since somebody's just asked, how are you? And really meant it. It was actually so surprising to me that, like he said, nobody speaks to each other. Like in this time, nobody contacted each other and spoke, that nothing happened. And just that, to just connect again, talking about it helps so much. Yeah.
That's actually opening a, you know, big can of worms that I don't want to get into. But this, the way the world is moving at the moment is, if you look at it, and it's been coming for a while, is that more and more people are encouraged to stay at home, to wear your mask, to not go out, not to, you know, they are being encouraged. Let's face it. Online shopping. I just see it with online shopping. How much has that grown in this last couple of, you know, and I mean, for me, the other day I went, actually for the first time I went to a mall in a long time. Yeah. And I felt kind of misplaced or displaced. I didn't feel like I felt like I could get in and get out and go home. Do your thing. It's like maybe it's just me, but it's like that someone or something or whatever is trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Desocialize people, and people are social beings. We need each other.
100%.
And it's very true what you say about what Rudolph said. At the end of the day, I must be honest. I've got some very amazing, friends that really, some very famous guys that are amazing. I almost get a call every second week, just asking me, are you okay? Are you doing okay?
Awesome.
The other thing that this taught me, this whole process, was prioritize. And because all of a sudden, where you had 5,000 rand to do something, now you have 1,000 rand to do the same thing. So where do you, what do you do? Where do you cut? What do you do? What do you leave? And at the end of the day, it was actually quite, I don't want to say, definitely eye-opening, but it was quite relieving, in a sense that you can actually see with how much less you can get along with.
Yes, ongelooflijk. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we started planting vegetables and considered getting a few goats and chickens. It's like grow your own food type, like going back to that mindset. It's true. Yes, but it is an adjustment, to cut things out that you thought you needed, and now you can do without.
Yes.
Yes. Getting an alternative.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Johan, I want to ask you, I ask everybody about the government's role in supporting artists and the music industry. Did you apply for a grant? Did you consider applying? And what is your whole opinion about the way that the industry has been supported, or lack of support, actually? What's your feelings about that?
I must be honest, I don't have any feelings that all that I've thought about it for a split second in time, one moment in time, is there we go. What's in that cup?
Ouro's.
Maar natuurlijk.
Polisie koffie.
Wanneer
was jy daai gehoor? Polisie koffie.
Jy slank. Nie lang terug genoeg nie, hoor.
Ek weet nie waar hy nou vandaan kom nie, hoor.
Yeah, man. The whole socializing thing, it was, a month or two ago, I was invited to Maurits Lotz's birthday, and, just a party, and it was just, for everyone, it was kind of just, we almost burst out in tears, everyone, just to see a couple of familiar faces and just actually interact and have like a almost normal party, as normal as a musician's party can be, but...
kan do. Ag, wow, nee. It's like a newfound appreciation of...
Absolutely. Alrien, about your question about the government. I did consider for a split second to maybe apply for a grant or whatever, and everyone that I spoke to that did, I was discouraged to do that.
Really?
Because there was just
okay.
There was just no support whatsoever. There were too many, there's too much red tape for things that, and man, I actually don't want to go down this avenue
Okay.
But yeah, there was too much red tape to keep minority out.
I see.
At the end of the day.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that truly is what not one or two people told me, but everyone that actually did apply for a grant, you know, they had no luck in getting any money whatsoever. And there's always a loophole. They will always find a loophole. You know, no, but you have this or you have. So I was just like, oh, you know, really, not that I don't need the money. I mean, trust me.
Yeah.
Exactly. But to go through all that, you know,
yeah.
For something that, you know, in our life, and we don't live luxurious at all, but you know, it's going to last me less than a week.
Yeah.
I mean, in comparison to what, you know, the cost of living. I mean, if they want to help people, just, man, when last did you go to Checkers?
Yeah.
And buy food?
Precies.
You know, if they want to help people, do something about that.
Yeah.
People are struggling to buy food because it's expensive.
Exactly.
It is just too expensive.
No. A basic need, like food.
Basic stuff.
Sorry if you
I'm
can't.
not talking about. I'm not talking about Oreos.
No.
or polisie koffie. Ja.
Dis selfgemaakte alkohol. Dis eintlik pineappelbier met koffie. Ek het nie geld vir brannas nie. Brannas.
Wie het?
Ek begin sommer drink.
My seun het hy moes nou 18 geraak in Julie en hy is toe nou vir die eerste keer saam met 'n vriend van hom toe nou na 'n pub toe, na die Bosvelder toe.
Okay.
In Centurion. Ja. Maar die nuwe woord wat nou die groot woord van die afgelope termyn nou is. Ja. Is 'n vuilkouk. Is 'n Nee, kyk.
Dis oulik. 'n vuilkouk. Ek gaan dit onthou.
'n vuilkouk. Ja.
Dis oulik.
Papa, Dad, hulle het 'n special gehad op vuilkouks. Jy kan
Oh, that's sweet, man.
Needless to say.
Ja.
Wat het ons nou gesê? Ja. Oor die regering.
Ja.
Ek dink ek het kind of gesê wat ek moet sê seker ek.
Yeah, you said that, you know, why can't they just help people? It's very simple to help people. And I want to add to that because when we had that looting happening in the country, remember that? Like it took that incident actually for people to realize, but the government is actually not looking after us the way that they're saying that they are. And then they say, okay, now we're going to help the people. And then they know, now we're going to help the people. You should have helped the people a long time ago, man.
I'm sorry to say, I don't have any faith in any government. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't believe a word they say. And the people that are telling the truth are getting, you know, discredited and you know, done away with. And in any country, I don't think, maybe in some European countries that I don't know about. I've heard good things about some countries there, but as far as, you know, other first world countries and obviously third world countries as well, they tell one thing and they do another thing. And they will promise people bread and they will deliver bread and meat just before elections, you know.
Exactly.
It's a joke, man. It's a joke. They don't look after the people. Look, I don't want their job. And I don't want and if you do the proper Christian thing, then the Bible says we should pray for our government. And I must admit I don't do that. So I'll probably have to confess, about that, but because that is the right thing to do. But I mean, it just makes it very hard if you see what's happening all around. And I mean, I just think for any kind of arts, creative environment, or music, whether it be music, art, whatever, I think it's very, very much one-sided to what the government gives and where they will support.
Exactly.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and it's good that we're saying this, because it needs to be said. It needs to at least be said. Johan,
Yes.
I want to ask you, what are you busy with currently musically? How has work picked up, and are you busy with new projects? And I want to know, what are you busy with?
I don't know if you know this lady Alreen.
Nee, ek hoor sy is baie moeilik om mee te werk. Ek hou niks van haar nie.
Is dit?
Ja,
moenie als glo wat jy hoor nie, hoor.
Moenie met haar werk.
Moenie als...
So haar liedjies is so common. Dit is horrible. Net haar ma hou van haar liedjies.
En haar pa ook, as jy hom 'n brandewyn en 'n vuil coke ingee.
Exactly. Sy het juist 'n liedjie geskryf, vuil coke, dink ek, of sy het my gesê sy gaan 'n vuil coke liedjie skryf, apparently.
Klink vir my na hit, hoor.
Treffer on the way.
The thing with it's a weird thing in terms of workflow. I think it's part of that whole mental thing. I find myself this year, I think this year was a little bit better than last year.
Okay.
If I'm honest, I think I'm definitely more busy. Okay. But it's kind of I have to force myself. Sometimes I go into this whole lethargic, I have to really, really focus. I could get this done now. Yeah. So I find myself, there's a lot of things that mainly, well, let's put it like this. The big reason I would say is a financial reason. Yeah. Because, I'm not finished with the one project yet. But I need money I see the end of the month, I'm there again. Yeah. If I see what the date is, the end of the month is coming near. So there's another project happening. So, okay, so you take that deposit. So you get behind, in just finishing up the stuff. Yeah. So I'm busy with quite a few. Well, it's your stuff. Werner, it's not known guys, and then gospel singer called Davel. Yeah. Werner Bessinger. Nianell, and there's another one. Obviously your dad as well. Yeah, it's 5. So I'm busy with 5. Which if you say it like that, it's like wow, but it's that's like awesome. It's not, it's just I'm thankful for the work, obviously. Yeah. But it's not like if you look at my my bank balance, it does not reflect 5 projects worth, because it's like in the old days as well, with if you get a project in, if you get like a CD in, a whole CD production to do, it's we usually work on 50%, and then 25% of the vocals are done, and then the final 25. So in the past, it was more albums, so you had quite a quantity of money, and you had the project and you finished the project. Yeah. Now with the single thing, it's a little bit different. The guy's just doing singles all the time. So it affects the way that I work, and I think sometimes I still need to find my rhythm, just to get that train kind of, okay, come on board,
Yeah.
come on
Yeah.
board and just and I have to focus, really focus to finish up the stuff. But I just financially, I just can't most of the time. If there's a new project, the guy wants to do something, I have to say yes, and otherwise we don't eat.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, no, it's a horrible place to be in, because also it's not like, I mean, you've got this added stress on you, and that doesn't help with being productive. If you're overwhelmed with stress,
oh no,
yeah. And I've realized that, and that's again is to start just distracting yourself, doing other things, putting your energy into whatever the case might be. Start a freaking tomato garden, of do something like that you can finish quickly, and then you feel, okay, cool, I did this thing, and this little plant's growing, fantastic, it's still alive. I don't know, I started thinking like that. Just do stuff that's going to keep you busy. This moeilijk, but even that becomes too much. It's depression, man. It's depression. That's how depression works. It's depression.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Johan, what we're talking about now is reality. It is depressing. But people became so depressed that they committed suicide. Why? Why did a person have to take his life during this place? We needed help. Daar moes meer gewees het om te help. Jy weet, it's serious. So I'm all for speaking about depression and mental health, because nobody does. People are scared to do it. But when somebody kills themselves, then it's too late. It's like, oh, we didn't know that he felt like this. Oh, I didn't know it was so bad. Why didn't he say anything? Jy weet. Let's keep it real.
No, we absolutely. I lost we weren't close friends, but we were friends. He was a full-time entertainer, singer, and it once again, it all depends on which level you are in terms of money. Because if you're up there, doing the groot concerte, then it's easy, because and it's not easy, because sometimes I think some of those guys fly very high, and then to sustain that thing is also tricky. So I don't think anybody's got it easy. That's not what I'm saying. But at least they had some reserve. For a guy like this friend, the guys in the Afrikaans industry will know who I'm talking about. That took his own life. He was just a pub singer for many years. He was a good singer. He just never had a break.
I see.
He just never. He needed that one song. To break him into a bigger market. And he was so loved. He was such a wonderful singer and musician and just a person. He was just a lovely person. And I mean, it became too much for him, and that's all he did. That's all he played pubs, well, not pubs, but venues. We did a few gigs together at Sun City at one stage, and he was just what a lovely guy. And to lose him like that, what comes to mind for me is Finding Nemo, the movie. Just keep swimming. It's just putting the one foot out, how difficult and impossible it seems, just putting your one foot in front of the other. And then for me, obviously my faith is just, I get very bad days in terms of my faith. But it's just crying out to God for grace every single day, because it's not easy at the moment. Definitely not. And without him, there is no way I can do it without him. I must be honest. I don't know how people do it without him.
I agree.
We try sometimes, and we get mad, at God as well. We all go through that.
Yeah.
It's all your fault, you know. It's all this, and at the end of the day, you know, he's a good father that just, you know, loves us and wants the best. Although we don't see it now, you know, but he does. He wants the best for us.
Yeah, it's the truth, Johan. It's the truth. It's what we hold on to. This is really true, and it's always like that. It's just in times like these, it's like, obviously you get closer to God when things go difficult and things get hard. But yeah, when things change, which it will, I believe, I can only see people being so much stronger and better at what they do and thankful. And because I think that's been an overall emotion, is really appreciating your relationships.
Absolutely.
Like this rediscovering your love for music, reevaluating what it is that you do as a musician and why you do it.
Yes.
Putting up new boundaries in terms of what you're doing. There's so much evolvement, I think, that happened. And even though it's hard, some good has come out of it, I think.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And from my personal point of view as well, I actually, it came a bit late, but it's just like, I just discovered I'm not completely there yet, you know, but sometimes your love for music does fade, you know, if you've been doing it for a long time. And I think if you do what you're called to do and do what you love, it won't, you know, feel like work, and I don't think you'll really get tired of it. So maybe you do, but I've always felt, you know, for me, there's more, and I had to. I'm in that process at the moment of trying to discover what that is, you know, trying to get back to my initial love for music and how it all, you know, ends up in my life, you know. And I think it's very, very important for any creative person is at some point or points in your life is just, you know, asking that, why am I doing this? And the first thing is, if you're not doing what you love, I mean, either get out or find out what the hell is going on.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Because our philosophy of music really determines everything that we do. The decisions that we make, who we work with, what we put out, everything comes from the why. Why are you doing this? And I think sometimes we underestimate the public's intelligence, because I think any human being just has, or most human beings, maybe not psychopaths, but has this that we have some form of intuition to see, wow, but there's something about this that I really like. And why is that? Because it's truthful, because it's authentic, because it's true art. And that should never die. If you have that gift, which you do, that should never, ever, ever die. It's there for a reason. And God gave you that talent. It's there. It should never go away. But this is something else. Like the work that you do as a producer is so important, because when you take a song in its simple form, just the melody and lyrics, when the producer comes in, you literally make something of that song. Because imagine that singer just singing that song on a guitar, and a song has to sound good on its own. But do people realize what magic producers make with songs? I don't think they know how much work and time and effort and skill goes into that. It's an absolute creative process. It's much more difficult than songwriting, I guess. In composition, it's composition and it's arrangement. It's a huge skill, and you have that. I mean, you know that. But if I can just encourage you, I mean, just always remember that. Like, you are truly, like, in my opinion, one of the best. And you're such a lovely person. We've actually grown quite close over the past year and a half, because we've had some deep conversations last year and this year a little bit. when you started producing again.
Mm.
That's also what I appreciate about you. I have the utmost respect for you because you're so good. You're a professional, but you're very approachable. You're just a normal human being. It's just so nice to be able to speak with you. And I really appreciate you opening up on STORTKOP Confessions and sharing your story and your thoughts and your feelings. And thank you for being honest and vulnerable, because it's brave. It takes a brave person to do that. So thank you for that. Yeah.
You're most welcome, and thank you
My
for
kroon kom
having
af.
and
It's a pleasure.
Corona
My-
5, Corona
my-
af.
My Corona 5. Die Engelse weergawe. Johan, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add or share before I ask the last question.
No, I think I've said enough today. You've made me talk more than I ever talk ever. So
Awesome, I'm glad. I just want to ask you, why did you agree to be part of the project? What value do you see in doing this, not just for yourself, but also for the industry and the public and everything? What do you think is the value of doing this?
Alrien, sorry, it lagged again. I didn't. Hy het weer gelag. Ek het nou nie veel van daai gehoor nie.
Ek gaan weer sê, you see, it's because the crown is starting to afval. I want to ask. Yes, thanks.
Als die kraan se skuld.
I want to ask you if you can just tell us, or me, althans, why did you agree to be part of the project? In other words, what value do you see this holding for other musicians and entertainers and the public and the industry? Do you think it will hold any value? And what is that? What value does it bring for you as a person also? Why do you think this is important, if you do think it's important?
I absolutely do think it's important.
Okay.
You raise a lot of, well, I haven't seen the others, obviously, but this, in our interview,
yeah,
you've actually raised a couple of very important issues, which is, once again, as you say, not necessarily known to the public as well.
Yeah.
Look, the public are, very oblivious to how the music industry works. I mean, completely.
Yeah.
They think the artist, I've heard people say, well, they just buy the backtrack. And I say, well, okay, where do they buy the backtrack? No, they just buy it. I say, okay, from who?
Yeah.
So people's perception of what, goes on behind the scenes are obviously, a bit screwed up. But just the other issues, I mean, in Afrikaans, they say elke sport het sy beserings.
Yeah.
So every single industry where you are, or every single job that you do, you'll have the injuries, and you'll have the pros and the cons. But there are definitely, in any sort of creative process.
Spoeg hy velkouk uit.
Ek sal nooit velkouk uitspoeg nie. Nooit.
Maar dit is nooit verkeerd is.
Yeah, it's the deal.
Yeah.
In any sort of creative process, there are mental, or there's a mental aspect, there's a spiritual aspect, there's a few things that, and I'm not saying in a normal 9-to-5 work, they're not there, but there's a lot of things there that are just like, okay, it's the same thing kind of every day. You get people that are good with that, I just early in my life realized I'm not that. I can't do that. It will literally drive me insane if I do that.
I understand that, John.
But with this, that the way God made me, it's like, okay, there are a lot of other things, so I think it's for me, what I enjoyed about the interview is just actually, talking to you. And I think you do it very well. Honestly, I think you do it very well. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it is. It's going to raise a lot of awareness in the public. So I really, really hope that it really eats off. I've always kind of said there are many things that the public should be aware of that goes on behind the scenes, but they're not. So something like this, I think, helps with that. So I wish you all the best, and that it will grow and become something huge. I think it's a very, very great, funny concept, very unique.
Thank you, Johan.
Very, very unique concept. My battery just warned me it's on 20%.
Okay, ek het hom gesien.
So I really hope it just grows,
Thank you so much. And you know what, Nee, just to get back to faith again, God made all of us the way that we are. We've got certain talents, we've got certain passions and personalities. And I just believe that this is something that it sparked for me, and now I'm doing it. And it's a collaborative thing. So I feel my greatest wish would be to have somebody extremely famous, I don't know who, in the shower. Like yesterday, I had Corlia Botha in the shower. Oh, no, dit was vandag. I had Corlia Botha in the shower. It was epic. And a few weeks ago, I had Roland Moses. He's like a doctor, researcher at a university. Because that's the irony, that's the satire of it, being in the shower, and it breaks down that image. It really does.
Yes.
Like the topic of the public who has this perception is an important one to address, really, because they keep on supporting this thing, and I don't think this thing even wants to be the thing anymore. And I don't think the things that support the thing even wants to support the thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we've been feeding it something. On
that note, I have to say, I have to just say it because you know him. His name is Danny Lalouette.
Yes.
He is the most famous bass player in our country. So he's been in the industry for many longer years than me anyway. It's been forever. He's the top session bass player in the country.
Yep.
But on that topic, he always says, "Let's do that thing as opposed to that other thing."
Oh, Jelle. Yeah.
If we have to record or something, he says, "Okay, can we go?" I say, "Yeah, let's do that thing as opposed to the other thing." So there's your thing.
Okay, lekker. Well, I'm glad we had a thing today.
Yeah, definitely. It was a thing.
It was a thing.
It was not the other thing.
It was not the other thing, no. But anyways, thank you so much for always just like having a lekker conversation and a chat with me. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the song.
Altijd lekker.
And listening to it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. En ons praat.
Thanks. Jy ook. Dankie hiervoor. Dis heerlik.
Dis lekker.
Okay.
Cheers, Johan. Bye.
Bye.